Hello, hello. Good evening, everyone. This time, G Man and I wrote down some questions. And I will do questions until you guys have questions. If you have questions, interrupt me. I'm good with that. I'm fine with that, as a matter of fact. There is some stuff that's going on this week, but I'm going to cover it in a longer video, not on this live version. Let's see if I can get this thing to stop wobbling so much. G-Man, are you on? You're supposed to be telling me that this thing is working. Somebody say hello. Say hello, Naya. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me? Somebody type something. Okay. Hello, Mario. Okay, it's working. Thank you very much for your help, Mario, this week. Much appreciated. And I'm so happy to hear that you're seeing stuff. And people will watch this later and understand that, because normally Mario is just, he does his job, he focuses on it. He usually does not have the inclination or the time or the energy, I don't think, to actually visually or vibrationally see anything that's going on, but he did this week. He's done it, I think, a couple times now. So very happy to see that, because I really was excited for him to see on the massive scale that he's working, because it is pretty massive. A lot of people work on a much more local scale. His is really multidimensional, multi-universal. And that's kind of a big thing. Number one, it helps your self-esteem to realize what kind of a God and God power you have. So it's really, really good for that. Hello, G-Man. So I'm really happy to see that Mario has seen that. It's like Zen Mommy. Zen Mommy's been to the other side. She forgets all the time, but she's seen what she is as a God. Daniel, I know, did. Pretty sure Jeremy did. Of course, Michelle already knew. Maria already knew. Okay, so if no one has any specific questions right now, I'm going to start with one of ours. Okay. Okay, I'm going to do this one because I think it's interesting. It'll be quick and easy, but the question is, why are there different races? Why are there different human races? Number one, this makes me laugh. Number two, it makes just about every other, what you would call alien or entity, laugh hilariously, because from my perspective and from their perspective, there is only one race of humans, and all of them are just humans. Every human on this planet, earthling human, is one race. Now, humans themselves have divided themselves into groups and called themselves different races, but out in the real world and how real people look at you, all humans are one race. And I'd like for you to think about this kind of like dogs. Dogs is one race, so to speak. Now there are different breeds of dogs, but they're still all dogs. I mean, you don't say put all the one dogs don't kind of live together, all the black dogs don't live together, all the rat terriers don't live together. There are some tendencies towards mean dogs, but usually what we have found is it's not the dog's temperament at all. It's the way that the humans raise them, that dogs are dogs, right? They come in all different shapes and colors and sizes and personalities, and that's what we love about them. That's how we pick our dogs, is because of all those differences that are very unique. So even though there may be a bunch of white dogs are very, very different in shape and size and temperament. And you don't just choose a white dog. You may prefer a white Pomeranian or you might prefer a white German Shepherd for very, very different reasons. But it has to do with the overall aspect of the dog, not because you've divided these dogs because of their shape or their color into a different race or breed of dog. That you treat them differently that because of that. Well, take that thinking and kind of pull back, and that's how all the other entities, even in this game, look at humans. It's only humans that divide themselves into different races and fight amongst themselves because that's a part of the game. But in reality, the human beings on this planet, one race. And just like in dogs, who actually primarily came from wolves, they ended up being different shapes and colors and sizes and temperaments because humans bred them a certain way. Well, there were other entities that came in on this planet who bred the one kind of animal, the human animal, in different ways that created different looks. And they put them together in groups. And that's a long, long, long story. And it covers a bunch of different alien entities that did that. And it really doesn't have anything to do with much of anything other than exactly what I said. It's no different than why humans bred dogs to be different sizes. It was for jobs or aesthetics or curiosity. Same kind of reasons that a human breeds a dog differently. Outside aliens bred different attributes into the human race for their each appropriate reasons or independent reasons that really have nothing to do with where humans stand at this point in the game. Because at this point, all humans are have the capability of becoming fully conscious, and they certainly are aware that, or should be aware that ultimately there's not a whole lot of difference in the human race. Um, and if they choose to play a game where they think there is a difference because of the way they look, well, that's simply a part of their game, and that's all. It's not really any more true than it is about dogs. Okay, so that answers that one. Let's see. Okay, there's two questions here, and they kind of go together. So I'm going to go ahead and answer them both. The first one is, why do I hate cities? Okay, the reason why I hate cities, and I love visiting cities. Visiting cities is fun. There's a lot of things to do. Okay, this is showing nobody on. Is there a problem with the link? Okay, somebody's back on. Is there something wrong with the link? Who's back on? Let me call Miss Stephanie. I will call Stephanie live and in person. Oh, Michelle's on. Michelle, are you having any trouble with the link at all? It may just be people coming on and off, and that's perfectly fine. I just want to make sure. Would you go on the link and watch the live stream? Make sure it's running good. Yeah, I'm on right now. You're on right now. Yeah, I know time difference. Are you home? Can you hop on? Okay, doke. Just pop on and let me know. Okay. All right. Okay. Love you. Bye bye. Love you. Bye bye. Okay. Michelle says everything's fine. So, Michelle, what I was talking about was the difference in human races. And good for you playing in the rain. I think it's supposed to rain here tomorrow, so I intend to be out playing in that rain tomorrow. Yeah, so you can rewatch this and see about the different human races. I won't go over that again. Now I'm going into why I hate cities, which is one of G Man's questions. And it's not that I hate cities, it's just that the bad guys in controlling humans and getting them down to 3D uh, were very good at grouping people together into cities. And in those cities, they can control more people. They can control more people's money. They can control more people's energy. They can keep you more in fear. And they do that so many ways in the city. From the traffic and the smog and the worry about your job and um, the places that you live, there's always people watching. You have to worry about the way you dress, the way you look, where you go to school. And that's the stuff that's obvious. Then the way they lay out the roads, the way they build their cities and their buildings, all of this stuff, layer upon layer upon layer, is vibrationally built to keep you at a low vibration. The reason why it was done is because there's a lot of people in one place. So rather than worry about spreading out 7 billion gods around the whole planet and trying to keep them at a low vibration in order to play the game, it behooved the planet to group people together in cities and just massively hit them really hard, layer by layer by layer, so that the majority of the people were being controlled into the 3D. And yes, there were the ones that were in third world countries or extremely poor. With the extreme poor people, the ones that were not attached to civilization at all, they were the highest vibration, of course. But the second they interacted with civilization and found out that they were so much more poor than that, of course, instilled fear in them. But the groups that did not interact with civilization, there's so few of them that they really didn't cause a problem with getting into 3D. They were, of course, very high vibration because they lived in the now. They still do. There are original peoples all around the world that are outside civilized mankind or have chosen to ignore them, civilized mankind, who stay out of that game, who pretty much take care of each other, are very happy, live in the now, take from the planet only what they need, make what they need, share what they have with one another, help each other, raise each other's children, and support the community rather than themselves or their family. But there are very few of those. And so they didn't really, it was not worth a lot of time and energy to go after those very small pockets of entities. So basically, if you were a god entity or and you wanted to come experience 3D, but you didn't want the pressure that the rest of the 3D planet was going to go undertake, you could have come as an original outside of civilized mankind and lived that way and had the 3D experience just barely, but you would be considered 3D for your lifetime or several lifetimes as that goes. But for the majority, the deepest, darkest, thickest densities, without a doubt, are in the most populated, most civilized, considered civilized cities. And in order to get that done, it is massively layer upon layer of a combination of fear-inducing um, factors. A lot of these have to do with this is what you should have, or this is what you could have, and you don't. So that leads to my next question, which is why do people have low self esteem? Well, that's the reason why, is because these everything is based on the cities. If you're watching any news, at all, then everything's based on the cities. And Stephanie, it's a good idea, and she's here now. So hello, Stephanie. She's got friends around the world, frequently in third world countries. She prefers those friends to Americans. She believes that Americans are spoiled, and she prefers not to interact with them. She very much likes third world countries because of their strong adherence to family values of supporting their families and their towns. So she relates really strongly with them, and she has talked to them for years and years, and they are firmly. What they seem to do is seem to take their values of family, of supporting each other no matter what, and then they imprint that in America with all the wealth. And they're under the impression that everybody in America has a big house, like Desperate Housewives, and that everybody has a job and that pays really, really well. And they don't understand the truth here. And the truth here is, yes, we do tend to get paid much better than they do, but they have no idea of the cost of living, and they really have no idea of the level of a tax that is put on a person, to the point that families break up and they almost become fight each other. So the desperation and the anger and the competition and the despair even goes down to the family, individual family members. And of course, there it just grows. So there's competition everywhere in a city, everywhere, under all circumstances. And there's also this incredible amount of pressure as to whether or not you're doing it right. I don't care what it is you're doing. In a city, somebody is judging that you're doing it wrong. And that kind of constant barrage of information is undoubtedly going to affect your self-esteem. Well, it is that low self-esteem that allows you to stay in your amnesia and to forget that you're a god, so that you can play the game effectively. That is done the best and with the most power in large cities, especially large first world powerfully um, moneyed countries like the United States. And I would say the United States is probably one of the top of that. I've felt a lot of cities, without a doubt. Um, yeah, the cities in the United States are pretty overwhelming, overwhelming when it comes to that. You don't see a lot of people come to the United States cities and stand up tall and go, "Wow, I'm a badass." No, usually they come to these cities with their eyes down and looking around, kind of halfway scared, wondering which way to go and what to do. It is common for people to be afraid to move to the cities for the first time. It is common for people who have been raised in cities, who have been there for years and years and have been successful, to be very, very proud of themselves, to stand up very like we're better than, because they made it in the city for good reason. Because there's a lot working against you in the cities. Now, if you become a creator god and you can flip that, flip all of those energies to your favor, then you can move very, very quickly. However, most of the people that do that um, tend to disappear. And the reason why they disappear is if they lose you in the city, if you figure out that you're a creator God, if you get in the moment to moment and you're able to harness that energy and flip it, you pretty much just shoot straight up into other dimensions or out of the game. Now, to those around them, it might look like somebody died in a wreck, or they just disappeared off the planet and then nobody knows what happened to them. On very rare occasions, you'll hear stories of, like Jesus just glittering away, just disappearing in front of people. There's all kinds of stories that's what happens, because you really, really hard in a city that's built like that to be in the middle. You're either going to be fighting that low self esteem and all of that fear inducing setup that is everywhere, The way they set up building restaurants, the products that they use in to build the buildings. It is everywhere, guys. It's more than you can possibly imagine. So yeah, if you can flip it, usually the people leave, so you'll never know it. You'll be able to talk to them on the other side. Usually, whenever they do that, hi Jonathan. Um, Usually, whenever they flip like that, it happens so fast that they don't even realize that they've done it. Whenever they flip and grab that energy and take off, the most likely that happens is it's a sudden death. You'll be an aneurysm or a sudden car wreck or something that they leave immediately. A very, very quick death is people that will do that. Um, Frequently, that will be people. You might hear people talk about, well, they may be in a city and this is such a wonderful person. They only saw the good in everyone. Never said a bad thing about anybody. Could always see wonderful things in everything. That kind of thing. That's the kind of people that will do that. It's very, very rare. It has happened with newbies that they just didn't realize that what would happen because they bounce around in other games so much that they didn't realize how uh, tenuous playing this game is. That if they lock into that, it just kicks you right off the planet and clear out of here. And once you get kicked off and you start raising, that moves very, very quickly. Okay. Alrighty then. So anybody have any questions about those two comments? If not, after this is over, you guys can talk amongst yourself about these things because you should have things to say about each other. You're from all over the place. Okay, let me go to the next one. Oh, that one we won. Okay, I was talking, I think it was I think I've spoken about this before. I think I was talking to Zen Mommy about it because she had ordered some stones online and she wasn't sure if they're fake or not. Okay, you do not have to be very enlightened at all to be able to uh, visualize a fake stone having the same properties as the real thing. All you got to do is tell it to or ask it to. And it knows what the real stones do, and it will be more than happy to oblige. They don't care. All you do is ask them, and they'll go sure. So if you want to, all you can afford is the cheap fake versions of stones, and even essential oils or just about anything. All you've got to do is honestly believe that those entities, even if you don't have as much maybe confidence in yourself, but you have more confidence in the beings on this planet, then all you got to do is ask them. And you can certainly ask if you don't know that you can talk to them. You should at this point be able to at least talk to Gaia or your higher self, even if you can't hear what's back. And all you do is ask them, and they'll take care of it for you too. Just say it is so, and it is so. It's that simple. The rules are not as rigid as you think they are. They're only rigid because you believe they are. The second you stop that belief, it will be much, much easier all the way around. Okay, Jonathan. And Jonathan says, can't believe you're talking about this tonight. Was out today and got home about an hour ago and had to lie down because of vertigo. There were shouting matches outside the building and up the street. Yep. Yeah, and Jonathan is in Washington, D.C., guys. Whoa. Going through some massive energy changes right now, as if it wasn't a tough enough city to begin with. It is massively being upset as we speak, which um, from the way I see things, I think it's hilarious and about GD time. Not that God either. Me God. Because that place really needed to be dealt with. Well, Jonathan, you probably could talk to Daryl Sanders. He's 30 minutes out. At least you could go visit him and just have a sit down and just have a breath of fresh air and just, you know, have a barbecue outside or whatever it is you guys do up there. You barbecue out there? And yeah, and at least get some relief until you can get moved out because Daryl's awesome. And he is far enough outside of the city that it will give you relief in that moment. Um, and then Stephanie says, honestly, considering the timelines right now, leaving isn't really needed. Yeah, Stephanie and I are pretty, as you all know, I love you guys. I love doing this most of the time. I love doing my videos, which I will start again probably next week, because G Man is doing awesome. I cannot tell you. He actually fell to the floor and got up on his own. That is a huge deal. It does not need to be done over and over again, but the important thing is he got it done. He figured out a way to get it done because I was not here. But Stephanie and I are on hardcore, straight line to 5D, as solid as we can get, and we are very focused on it. So as long as you are talking to us, you're going to be on those same timelines. Now, they are moving rapidly, rapidly. And it's almost, Washington, D.C. is almost hilarious because it is, of course, the most undivine, masculine city, I think, just about in the world, definitely top five. And it is massively transforming. So if you can allow it to just flow through you, it will be absolutely a blast to watch it transform, Jonathan. Just to give you that option. The Purple Sky, sixth, I meant. Daryl is awesome, sixth. What's with these numbers? Ha ha ha, very much. I watch it with popcorn. Stephanie, I'll have to have Stephanie do a live feed on updating you guys. Stephanie, would you do that for me? Would you do an updated, live format on updating everybody on the world's transformation with the new divine masculine and divine feminine on the planet in mass, and the assimilation of the undivine of both sides? She's got a lot of information. She does talk as fast as I do. Probably won't be a super long video, but we'll see if we can get her to do it. She keeps up on it for me because I just don't like to. I'm lazy and I'm busy doing other things right now. So, and besides that, she just enjoys watching it more than I do. And she gives me the clip notes, and that's all I need. Okay, Stephanie has agreed to do that video on that, so maybe next live chat, maybe it'll be with her or us. Whoops. Whoa, whoa. It's the transformations. Look out. Okay. Sorry. Should I do that because it was funny? Okay, so what was I going to say next? The same thing is true with bad food and good food. Stephanie's been doing this since she was a baby, where she literally will take food, and by the time it gets to her mouth, she's transformed it to be the perfect food for her body in that moment in time. So it's completely transformed. So she can eat whatever kind of crap she wants to. She eats whatever she wants to, whenever she wants to. She just transforms it and gives her body whatever she wants. In that way, she will probably not be someone who stops eating, but she will be able to, this, from the transition from here to 5D, she will know how to just form whatever she wants in her hand because she almost does that anyway. Very little difference in that stage. So she doesn't have much work to do. The same kind of thing has been around for a long time, guys. You've heard of the people in the religions that are bit by snakes. Okay, it's the same concept, same exact concept. They just believe that that snake bite is not going to hurt them because of their religious faith, and it does not. Well, that they're doing the same thing. They're just transforming that venom into something that will not hurt them. But God can do anything. And I will say this again and again and again and again. Gods, you are all gods. You are capable of anything. And by anything, I mean anything. There is no sense in asking me ever if you can do fill in the blank. If you can ask the question, can I do fill in the blank, then you can do it. It's not a question of if you can do it. Of course you can do it. The question is whether or not you believe you can do it, and how do you get to the point, and what way do you use to get to the point where you believe that you can do it? Because there's nothing you can't do. Nothing. You could blow up this planet. You wouldn't, but you could. On the right timeline, if you had to talk with Gaia, you could blow it up. You could be a part of the whole bring in a meteor and blow up the planet. For that timeline where the planet goes to 5D, you could do that. None of you would, but you could. All right. What else? Jonathan, Naya, can you talk about the year 2012 when the shift started? There were predictions about what would and would not happen. Okay. 2012 has been known for a long time, although think Mandela effect, really, with the 2012 thing, because there were other timelines where the other dates are used, and there have been dates used for a very, very long time. But in this particular case, the 2012 timelines that you're aware of, that you see predictions that have gone back tens of thousands of years. Of course, all that can be done in the now instantaneously. There does not have to be 10,000 years of predictions to make anything appear real. But basically, what happened was the Earth said, okay, I've had enough. I'm leaving. So many scenarios were chosen. You chose to experience the ones that had a 2012 deadline. Now, there were a lot of New Agers who said that it was going to happen this way and this way and this way. And those of you who did not experience any of those things, I want you to understand and be very clear on this. All of those things that they said happened, happened. It happened to those who believed it. So the ones who saw that spaceships came down and zoomed people up, that's what they experienced. It did happen. You're not aware of it because you didn't believe in it. You're not aware of it because it wasn't a part of your game. Those who saw, I've heard them talk about that there were doors that were open that you could walk through. Those happened, absolutely happened. To the people that believed and wanted that kind of game, it happened. I want you guys to get really, really used to every story, every thought, every belief, every way that is possible, has happened, will happen, could happen. You could go back and experience it. Instead of doing this linear human thinking thing, I want you guys to get past that now. You now are aware that there are infinite timelines, there are infinite aspects of you, there are infinite games going on at this time just because little old you in this little old moment with this little old tiny human skin suit with this teeny tiny human brain did not see something happen does not mean that it did not happen. Just because there weren't a great many of you in a group who saw something happen does not mean it did not happen. Everything can happen. Everything is possible. Anything can happen. We are all gods. And if a god wants something to occur some way, then that's what happened. Now, for my timelines, I came out of trauma, intense trauma, died 2008, figured the game out, getting closer to 2012, at which point I knew that the timelines that I had access to, the majority of them were pretty bad. They were pretty bad because of the way I was raised. So I had about, I would say, I'd have to ask Stephanie for sure, but I think we had about a year. By then I understood, Stephanie and I knew each other better. We had about a year and a half. And for Stephanie, that was really hard because the timelines that we were sharing, the good majority of them, she got kicked into her warrior mode and she got to do her warrior stuff. She got to turn into a pure D warrior. The job was to take off the planet any human that was not up to par, to kill them, literally, kill them dead. That was her job. That was the warrior's job. And we were wobbling very, very closely between timelines where she got to do what she wanted to do, what she came to do, what she's been energetically, so to speak, put on the planet to do, and that was the ability to cold heartedly go through, analyze a human being, and know whether or not that they were up to par to be on the planet or whether they needed to be removed, and without even a care in the world to be able to kill someone and get them off the planet for Gaia's trip. We will value closely with those timelines and the timelines which Gaia wanted. And Gaia wanted a gradual increase of the vibration on the people on the planet because the people on the planet are a part of her. These skin suits are Gaia's, they're not yours. You're borrowing them. These skin suits are a part of Gaia. Understand that. So she would like them to be treated as gently and lovingly as possible because they are a part of her. She would much rather, if the weather turns cold outside, she would much rather have the ability to put gloves on the hands and just think fingers are you. And she wants gloves on those fingers as the weather gets colder rather than frostbite and them to fall off. And part of those timelines are frostbite falling off, and humans died very horrendously. And the 2012 that we ended up getting on were more like knitting and putting on glove layer after glove layer after glove layer as the weather gets colder, 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 making it easier and easier and easier to make this transition. Now, Stephanie could have gone either way. I was pretty sure, I was pretty determined to go this way. Stephanie's really the one that had to decide whether she was going to go with me or stay on her warrior timelines. It was a very difficult decision for her. When she did make the decision, she lost most of her friends. Most of her friends were warriors. About 90% of them killed themselves when we went into these other timelines where the warriors were not needed. They could not make the transition out of being warriors, so they just killed themselves. So she lost a lot of her friends. She went into severe depression, almost lost her. Not that she did anything physically, she just lost the ability to live, the ability to connect to energy to keep her body alive. And so that took some time because I was just a few years out of my coma. I was only a few years out of being starting to understand what had happened on the other side. And then I was hit with her going through her trauma. So it was a very intense time for us. Was about 2000, what do you say, Stephanie? About middle of 2010 to 2013, I'd say. So from 2008 to 2010 and a half, I was trained to learn to walk and talk and understand and keep a roof over our heads and try to understand all the incredible amount of information I'd received. And right when I just got my feet under me, Stephanie started crashing and burning. And we had to muddle our way through that with me having limited knowledge of that. Very, very tough. So that, oh, I didn't know that you had trouble remembering, Stephanie. Well, that's fine. Just don't, yeah. Yeah, she was bad enough that I took her to the doctor and I put her on man-made antidepressants. Now that was only for what, 2 months, and then we got her transitioned over to St. John's Wort, which took over and we took her off the other, and she still uses St. John's Wort to this day. She's not fully assimilated to not being a warrior, which is the reason why occasionally I will let her go off of somebody who is being exceptionally um, argumentative and let her warrior against them because they're asking for it. And I've told all of you guys what the path is for my website and my YouTube channel. So if somebody comes and wants to just be extremely argumentative, I will let her have them because it kind of relieves some of that warrior energy that she has that she just cannot get rid of completely. I think it will dissipate when she gets to 5D, but I think it'll be there until right before. Um, let's see. No, the pills did work, but we were very careful with them. We were very careful with the dosage. We were talking to Gaia through the whole thing. She was just almost dead. And natural stuff is really, really good, but it's very slow and it's very cautious and it's very careful. And we had waited too long, and we needed something that happened faster, temporary, to get us over to nature's help. So yeah, it worked, and she didn't have any side effects, and it did give her enough of a boost that we obviously kept her alive. Um, yeah, six, yeah, yeah. There's no way that I would want anybody on any of that stuff for 16 years. That is poison. Stephanie was on it for like a month or two. That was it. Which I will still advocate what humans use. If it comes from something that's natural and they've condensed it down and used, of course, Stephanie is good at transmuting too. So she was capable of taking the pill that we took was a natural version that they had condensed and then added their human crap to. And so she just transmuted the human aspect, took the super dose of the earth version, and that's why it worked. Most people, I don't think, could probably get that done, especially in a depressed state. But it was her and I together, and we were able to pull it off. Mostly, I think we were past fear. I think we were into determination. And at that point, we both knew that we could go either way, and we were very prepared for either way. We knew that we would both live or both die, and we were good with either way. If we got it done and stayed, that was fine. If we left, that was fine too. We were okay with it, as we still are. Uh, oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. G Man's gonna get me on man-made medication daily, on a schedule. He's really good with his schedules with his man-made stuff, and so I'm so glad for that. So I don't have to hand it to him. But he's good with it and he's happy with it. So hey, if it works for him, he's doing great. So who am I to judge? If it works, he is a long-term human. So man, probably that stuff matches him better than natural stuff does for me. But he has really, because he's really good at like keep it. He's really tenacious, and he really cares about me. He's very, very, very much cares about me, and I tend to not care about me. So he is very tenacious. Like I couldn't sleep, was having some really bad problems, and he just kept at it. And do want to give a shout out? I think I said this right, to both Krista and Jeremy, because when I was in New York with Krista, we went to this little pub thing, and I don't drink alcohol. And she introduced me to peach ale. And then when I was at Jeremy's gig in St. Petersburg, again, I was at a bar, cigar bar, and I didn't want to drink anything. And he suggested blueberry ale. And they have both of those here. And so they are really, really helpful whenever I'm like during that whole panic attack thing, because they don't taste like beer at all. They taste good. So we use that and this multiple tea thing that actually G Man came up with. We just kept fixing these teas, and then melatonin and valerian root. And now, man, I well, I don't drink beer every night. I probably could, but I don't. But that tea, valerian root, and melatonin. Oh, and I sprinkle my pillow with lavender. And man, I don't think I have ever fallen asleep as fast or stayed asleep as long as since we figured this out. And we wouldn't have figured this out if I hadn't had those panic attacks. So awesome on the panic attacks. And no, I don't want to have any more of them. But awesome that that led to this, because I've had trouble sleeping for decades, seriously, decades. And literally now, and frequently, G Man even makes me the tea. A man makes me tea for bed. Really, seriously. And I'm the one that's caring for him. It's wild, really wild. Awesomely wild, though. It's really nice to be around a guy that's that, loving and considerate, all that stuff for this length of time. Most guys can be nice for a few days, but how long have I been here? Like a month and a half or something. And the only time he has ever snapped, it's been because he's been in pain or anxious because of his circumstance. Never at me, just never at me personally. It's just been nothing but nice. It's just so nice to be around. And yeah, I've lived with a long term human. He's like the opposite kind of long term human than the one that, I mean, they have a lot of similarities. The difference is one was like really, really not nice, and this one's really, really nice. So that's fascinating, really fascinating. And then there's a lot happened here. As you know, I'm on a direct line to 5D. So even if I come here to help G Man, or if I go down and I hang out with whoever and go here or there, I always expect to have something happen where I can progress vibrationally towards 5D. So it's never just for whoever I'm going to see, it's always for us. Something is going to happen that's going to help me too. And y'all need to understand that. And I try to tell you this all the time, that you all have your strengths, and that all of us is important. We are doing this. We have to do it. We have to walk it alone, but it is the combination of us each walking it alone that gets us there. I don't know if you can make sense of that, but it's like we're not holding hands. It's like we're invisibly have lines with each other that we each have to handle our own vibration, but we're connected with each other in a very, very wonky, easy to get thrown off way. But we each have to do our own thing, but we will draw and learn from each other due to our strengths. The problem is that when you don't try to do that, when you just vampire off of everybody around you, when you just try to float, well, that's not allowed to go to 5D. That would just keep you in 4D and take you probably back down to 3D, because that's very, very high fear, low vibration, low self esteem stuff. Oh, where's Kim? Steph, glad you only needed the temporary crutch. Nobody repeat my mistake. Yes, nobody repeat 16 years of antidepressants. Where is Kim? I don't see Kim. Hi, Kim, wherever you are. I must have missed you. China tea is, yeah, he's got hibiscus. I mean, solid hibiscus. My favorite, by the way. Although we are all, oh man, gee, man, I forgot to get honey today. How could you forget? You forgot to remind me to get honey. Send that to me. Even text that to me, because I really need that. Oh, come on, it's the least I can do, Naya. I couldn't have done this without you, and that's the truth. I think we're doing an excellent job together. G-Man and I are really doing a lot together. It's like your old grid. Yeah, it is your old grid. Chorus line to 5D. Yeah, that's cool. Chorus line. We'll have Seth run it because he's the dancer. He can get us all organized. Oh, there's Kim. Hi, Kim. Love you. Mwah. Have it at DG for a buck. I'm eating, LOL. I have no idea what DG for a buck is, but enjoy your food. Okay, there's quite a few of you on there. Does anybody have any questions about anything that I've said before I move on to the next thing? And if you guys don't start writing questions during the week, well, I'm going to write questions because I feel stupid just sitting here going, da, 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 although it's kind of fun. But, you guys are the ones that wanted me to do this for a year. For a year, you asked me to do this. And now, so you could ask me questions. So now you don't have any questions. What is up with that? Seriously. Okay, so no questions. And G-Man's, we're saving questions for our videos. So he's got endless questions, but really his questions really could make a whole video with each question. So this is really for you guys, because I could do videos with G-Man anytime, all day long. So, we're going to save his videos for those questions for those videos. This is really for the rest of you guys. This is your time. $25 a month. You get, I don't know, how many lifetimes with me for an hour. That's a pretty good deal under any circumstance. Plus, you get to talk amongst yourself about any of this, build that vortex, share videos, share paintings. You guys need to be interacting more. This you guys have a lot of energy, but you're not interacting enough. I'm watching you. You need to talk to one another. Kim is now a millionaire, everybody. A free Yes, Kim found a free lottery ticket. Fell in her yard. She doesn't know where it came from, so I want everybody to visualize that she just had the winning ticket dropped on her lap. Mainly because she's going to give G-Man and me both $1 million. So y'all need to like visualize her winning this and don't ask her for any more of it because I told you that. So don't call her and ask her for money at all because then I'll feel bad. Knowing Kim, she'll probably give it away anyway. She is kind of a giver, to say the least. Okay, what's next? Now that's a G-Man question. Okay, now we wrote down how to recharge your batteries. Really, recharging your batteries, I want you guys to continuously, again, I need to remind you at this level, there are many things that you have got to start getting a handle on. You have got to understand that you cannot, cannot do repetitive anything. Anything. Even if you've got to go to work and do a repetitive job, you have got to figure out some way of doing it with a different attitude, a different vibration, a different way. Even if it's changing your coffee break by 2 minutes, drinking a different coffee, uh, um, changing the way you wear your hair, put your makeup on differently. And I don't mean change it and then keep it. I mean change it every day. I don't care if the world looks at you funny. Women, if you go with crazy makeup one day, no makeup another day, different kinds of earrings, change up the way that you um, paint your fingernails, all kinds of funky colors, um, drive different routes, change up your weekends, anything that you can do that will change your life so it is not redundant will be imperative at this point on to get to 5D. You need to look around wherever you are, and I want you to do two things. You are going to see light things and dark things, what you call good things and bad things. When you see the good things, I want you laughing up and down in your mind. I want you to go jump, jump, bubbles, rainbows, fairies are having a party. When you see bad things, I want you to do the same thing. I want you to jump up and down, have a party, and say, my gosh, they're having the best fun with their game. Okay? That's what I want you to do. Number two, you are going to see divine masculine and divine feminine, undivine masculine and undivine feminine. I want you to do the exact same thing. When you see divine of both, I want you to have a party in your head. I want your eyes to gleam. I want you to go, my God, I can't believe it's here. I can't believe how strong it is. See how often I'm seeing it. And when you see the undivine, do the exact same thing. I want you to jump up and down, have the biggest party, and go, oh my gosh, look at how powerful those creator gods are. That this new energy is here and they're still playing their undivine games. That is magnificent. That is magnificent beyond belief. All right? So change everything in your lives, do everything different, everything, anything you can come up with. There, use your imagination for once. Get out of the box for real. Watch different TV shows. Stop watching the weather every day at the same time. Uh, do things different, way different. When you get up, instead of taking a shower and then having breakfast, have breakfast and then take a shower. Brush your teeth at a different time. Change your toothbrush. Change your toothpaste. Change the things you normally eat. Anything you can do to change it up. The more you do it, the faster you'll move. The more you can come up with ways to do it, the more fun it will become. The reason for this is you are practicing for 5D creations. If you're doing the mundane, same old, same old, same old, how in the world do you think you're going to get to 5D where you're expected to create your universe moment to moment in a new and interesting way if you haven't practiced it here? Well, you can practice it here in the physical first. If you can't even do that, there's no way you can handle 5D. If you don't have any more imagination, then how to change up your life on the way you look, the way you act, the way you walk, the way you talk, what you do every week. If you can't even do that, you don't stand a chance of handling 5D. There you go. Hardcore fact. Kim, G-Man gonna look up win numbers. Alrighty then. So that answers that. Y'all can have some thoughts on that in the group on the website. Stephanie, start a forum. Give everybody a way to help each other break up the mundaneness of their life. Have everybody describe their lives. Have other people give suggestions on how they can change it. Because once you get into habitual thinking, sometimes you can't even see that you're being habitual. So help each other try to change out of these things. That's what you guys are supposed to be doing, helping each other. And some of you were extremely good at that, Michelle. Extremely good. Yes, we both do. We listen to backward sticks. And that is really the whole problem here is I've actually listened to sticks backwards and I'm actually being satanically overrun. What is it called? That's what we, so how do you get out of that? If I listen to sticks going forward, would that undemonize me? Seems like that would be logical. Love you too, Miss Michelle. Great time talking to everybody. Looks like we've got a couple of minutes. So do you guys all want to say goodbye? Goodbye. Goodbye, G-Man and Jonathan and Mario and my sweet daughter and Kim and Michelle. Who else was here? Is that everybody? Possessed. Yeah. How many times have I been told that I was possessed in Texas, Stephanie? I think I totally lost count. Good night. Good night, my sweet friends. I love you bunches. Mwah. Hugs all around. Here. Say good night. Just inka, inka, binka, boo. Inka, binka, boo's already gone to sleep. Her nighttime is at 9 o'clock. All right, guys. Good night. I'm going to close it down. Tell Tommy I said later. Love you bunches. And you hear Inca. Bye-bye, guys. Love you bunches.